All right, here we are, guys. Back for hole number 9. Conclude this expert guide here. And you'll see that just going to go with Apocalypse, Sniper, Kingmaker. Should be relatively straightforward hole. From the second tee box, it's a little bit easier. We'll see what the wind is. I'm assuming they're going to give some kind of tailwind, and surely enough, there it is. It's a tailwind. That's kind of exactly what I was expecting. So we are going to just kind of proceed as usual here. And I'm just kind of thinking about going up to this left-hand side. You know, here you'll see I have a Apoc 6. Also keep in mind it's not going to be necessary for you to have an Apoc 6. Just, you know, quick adjust this somewhere in the neighborhood of 6.5, 7 rings. As I mentioned, here you can see not really going to need very much power, which means there's going to be a variety of drivers you can get down here. You could similarly do something with a Thors with an extra mile. It's really not going to be too big of a deal. But let's talk a little bit about what I did, since I was kind of wasting time there. I forget what that wind was, but you could see that it was kind of similar to this. And as I mentioned, I was going kind of 6, 7 rings. That's partially due to being in the overpower, but also, you know, I'm thinking about secondary wind effect and just I was trying to predict kind of an overplay, because I knew that the ball would kind of drift more towards the left. So if I can kind of overplay the rings, not to mention I was going into overpower, which requires a beyond max adjustment. So if I use 0, this isn't going to be right for overpower. So for overpower, I can do something like +5. It'll get you a much better estimate. But also look that you're kind of shooting just a little bit down, and you can actually see, you can physically see it pretty easily. So if you can't see elevation very easily, and it's not obvious, you can pretty much, with this new ring tool, the new wind directional that we have, just pretty much stay away from it altogether. But when it's obvious, that's when you use it. Like this. This is kind of obvious that it's uphill. You can see because the pin starts to disappear. So I know that I need to do some kind of extra correction here. So that's what you're going to see me do, 9.1. We're going to have very large side wind here. And we're also going to be very close to mid club here. It looks very, very close. So somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe 8.1. Keep in mind with side winds, I'm going to start at mid, which I am right now. And I'm also going to adjust after I make this 8.1 ring adjustment. I'm also going to be at min club. So since I start at min and there's no extra distance, so you can't do any kind of extra adjustment. There you can see it's still an overcorrection, just barely. So you can see that maybe -5 isn't quite enough. You might want to crank it up to a -10. And, you know, it's somewhere right in that range. And this is how you start to get dialed in on these elevations for these shots. Like I said, you can tell that it's uphill because the pin gets missing, the fairway gets missing. You really can't see over the hill in front of you. So anytime that that's the case, and it doesn't drop down to lower ground, which it doesn't on this hole, you can see that this is obviously uphill. So you'll want to make sure that you're using the elevation sliders on these holes that are obviously uphill. As I mentioned, you know, it's easy to tell because the pin just kind of goes missing. And it's not a very substantial uphill hole, but it is obviously uphill. So that's why you'll see me stay in kind of the -5, -10 range. Very, very small adjustment. You'll find with our new model, you have to use much, much less elevation than ever before. And that's because what the old model used to just be overplays. It was essentially just mastering the overplay. What I wanted to do is take this time, develop a better wind model for you guys, so you guys don't have to figure out overplays, because overplays make no sense. With this new wind model, it makes perfect sense. All you guys need to do is learn the new model. Once you learn it, you're going to be much, much better players because of the new wind model here. So hopefully you guys are getting accustomed to it. Let me know how your guys' rounds go. Keep me posted. And I will catch you guys for revisions either tomorrow or later today. Thanks.